One scenario of a person being wrongfully convicted was Earl Ruffin. He was convicted for raping a Virginia woman in her home. It wasn't until 20 years later that DNA evidence exonerated him. His life-changing mistake was giving the police irrelevant information, such as he had a girlfriend who used to live in the neighborhood the victim lived in. The only reason he was brought in for questioning was because the victim had seen him at a place that she worked, not in her neighborhood. This irrelevant information was enough for the police to build their confirmation bias, quit investigating other leaks, and focus on him as the number one suspect. Ruffin trying to be helpful and prove his innocence only led to a conviction and a life prison sentence. One person who was almost wrongfully convicted was Leonard Frazier. He was on trial for murder of a woman who was 14 at the time who went missing, named Natasha Ryan. The only evidence they had against him was a recorded confession. Toward the end of his trial, however, the woman was found. She had been living in her boyfriend's house. Lucky for him, the case was dismissed and the case was thrown out of court. What's terribly tragic about this case is that he confessed to killing a woman who was never even dead. One reason James Duane gives not to talk to the police is that the police are human and get their job wrong. Sometimes. A lot. The police work within a system that allows them to make mistakes and protects them for these mistakes. The police, like any human, fall victim to confirmation bias, and no one wants to admit when they're wrong. The police are trained to get a confession. Whether it is true or false, no average citizen is a match for this training. Also, the penal code has gone so far out of hand that the average citizen wouldn't really know if they were truly innocent or not anyways. Another reason not to speak to the police is because everything you say will be used against you in court. And due to the hearsay law, anything you told the police that might help your case, your defense attorney cannot bring up. If the police approach you, the only questions you must answer are, who are you and what are you doing right here and right now? If they ask you to come down for questioning, you must respectfully decline and contact a lawyer immediately. Unfortunately, I don't believe the author's advice is applicable to some minorities. I understand that he addressed this bias a little bit in the beginning. However, in 2019, I just don't see respectfully declining as an option for some people. For example, in the case of Eric Gardner, 3 days ago, the U.S. Justice Department decided not to file civil rights charges against him. He was murdered on video by, I believe, 5 NYPD officers. He was selling cigarettes outside of a bodega. They came up and questioned him and brought him to the ground, put him in a chokehold, and his last words were, "I can't breathe." Yes, this is an extreme circumstance for police interaction. However, it is a common occurrence for people of color. And I don't believe, even if they didn't kill him, that he would have had a chance to respectfully decline speaking to him. I believe he would have been arrested or like what happened. I do think this book is important though, and I will take the advice to my heart. I just don't see it being effective for some people, especially in a time period where police still get away with murder, literally and metaphorically. This book has taught me what to do if police approach me. It has taught me to keep my mouth shut even if I have nothing to hide. It has also added to my knowledge base that there is no such thing as a good cop or a bad cop in an interrogation. There's only a bad cop. It's also showed me how truly broken and systematically insidious our justice system truly is.